fun at the university at that time in Belgium. The university I entered is called Catholic Christian Movement in Belgium.
සිංහලෙන් ටිකක් කතා කරමු.
Sinhala Katha. Arogya Paramalabha. So after getting down from the Porua, so Dean came to me and congratulated me and gave me a letter.
සින්දුවක් කියමුද?
සින්දුවක් කියන්නම.
Oh, කියන්න. So why did you leave the country then?
I was called for an interview in Singapore. All of them had PhD except me. But before that, I got a job in Australia. I have already completed about 12 PhDs. This is the way I can give back my gratitude. Now I think it's time for us to give something back to Sri Lanka. හැම දිනක්ම අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබීමට අවකාශයක් තිබෙනවා. වතුරේ ඔහොම පෙරලෙනවා මට හුස්ම ගන්න බෑ.
Thank you for joining the program. Today I am meeting a very special person, that is Prem Yapa. Prem has been in Australia for quite a long time. He is a professor in accounting. He is also attached to University of Sri Jayawardhanapura in Sri Lanka. Let's go and meet him. Hello Prem, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very good. Nice to see you after a long time.
Nice to see you too.
Okay, tell me about yourself.
Well, I was born in Sri Lanka, a place called Galagedara in Wariyapala. And, I had my basic education in Mahakaliya Mahavidyalaya. Now at that time it was Mahakaliya Vidyalaya. So I went to that school nearly about 8 years up to grade 8. Then I was entered to the St. Anne's College, Kurunegala. It's a Catholic school. So there I had good English education, and I was preparing for my examinations, GC O-level examination in St. Anne's College. And I did my advanced level at St. Anne's College. And it was really enjoyable, and I really had a very good time in my school time. Actually, I was one of the prefects in the school because of my work and good contribution to the education. I was selected as one of the prefects in the college, St. Anne's College. So it was very interesting time. I had my secondary education from St. Anne's College, Kurunegala.
Okay, may I ask which was the period
Well, that was from 1966 to 1972.
Tell me about your friends and things during that time.
Well, I did not have many friends in the village, but I had a lot of friends in the school. And I was playing cricket with them and football sometimes with them. And we had a debating team. So all of my friends, we got together. And we had a lot of fun. And it was really enjoyable. And we used to catch up during the weekends sometimes. We used to catch up during the vacation period and play together. Cricket playing was my major enjoyment as sports. And I was not a major player, but I enjoyed joining teams, etc. during that time. It was really good.
Right. Okay. Tell me a bit about your parents.
My parents actually came from down south, from Matara. My father is from Attudava, my mother is from Kapugama, and they came and settled down in Kurunegala, Galagedara, Wariyapala, that's the village. And my father was a businessman, and he had a small boutique, and he ran a small business. My mom was a housewife, and in my family there were 4 members, my brother, elder brother, myself, and 2 other brothers. And my father was very much enthusiastic in educating me in a good school. So all the time he was telling me that you should go to a good school to do your education. And my elder brother was also very much keen on my studies. My elder brother was not a normal person. He was not able to walk properly. So he went to school up to 8th grade, and then he stopped going to school, and he used to work in a boutique. And so they always concentrated on my education. So while I was there, my brother was very much helpful for my education. My father and mother, both 3 of them were very much happy to give me a very good education. So my parents were really, really valuable people for me for my education.
Right. So what was your A level? You did METS?
I did commerce. I did that advanced level, O-level commerce subjects, economics, commerce, bookkeeping, accounting, and geography. Those are the 4 subjects I did for my advanced level. And I go through all the 4 courses with distinctions. And I was the only student got selected to go to the university from my class, from St. Anne's College. I entered the University of Sri Jayawardenapura in 1973.
Yes.
To the Bachelor of Commerce degree program.
Okay, tell me about your campus life.
Well, it's very interesting. And I was one of the first batch of Bachelor of Commerce degree at Sri Jayawardenapura University. Earlier it was labeled as Vidyodaya campus. After university reorganization in 1973, this course started at Sri Jayawardenapura University. So I entered as the first batch of students. And 73, 74, 75, 76, I graduated in 77. So we had a very good time there, and I was really doing in Sinhala medium. But at the same time, I used to attend English medium lectures as well, because some of the courses were conducted in English medium. So we had to learn English very well. I had a good solid understanding about English language from my college. But at the same time, at the university, I had to spend more time on learning, reading articles, etc., to get into the required, quality of the university education. So I spent a lot of time in the library, and we had a debating team, and it was really interesting time during that time in the university. And we had a lot of fun at the university at that time. We had the freedom. And it was really good, and we were catching up with a lot of, senior people, and they were very much helpful. And we used to go on trips, annual trips. The university was supporting us to go on annual trips for enjoyment, etc. And it was really a good, fun time. At the same time, I did very well in my studies, and I was able to secure a first class in my degree. And 77, I completed my degree with a distinction pass.
Okay. So what happens next?
Well, after that, I got a job in the bank, People's Bank, foreign department for a short period, about 3-4 months. And later on, university, one of my professors invited me to apply for a job in the university. So 1978, early 1978, I applied for a job called assistant lecturer in commerce. So I was interviewed, and I was recruited as an associate lecturer assistant lecturer in the commerce department in mid 1978. So after that, I started my academic life.
Right. It's until today.
Until today.
Yeah. Okay, let's walk through that journey. So when did you leave the country?
Well, I left Sri Lanka in 1991.
Let's talk about the 80s.
Yeah, well, the 1980s, in fact, I got a scholarship from the university to go to Belgium to do my master's.
Right.
So I left Sri Lanka in 1981. I got married in 1981 and joined with her to go to do my studies in Belgium. The university I entered is called Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium. And I started doing my Master of Business Administration degree, MBA, there in Catholic University of Leuven. So I started in end of 1981. Actually, I started the program in early 1982. 82 and 83, early 84, I completed my MBA. Then I had to stay in Belgium to do some training work. So I was given an opportunity to work in the European Economic Commission at that time in Brussels. So I worked nearly 6 months as an apprentice after doing my MBA to get some experience in the European Economic Commission. So that was a great experience, and during that time, actually, my kids were also born my first child was born in 82 in Belgium. My second child was born in 84 in Belgium.
Right.
I got married in 1981.
Yes. So let's talk about your getting married. Was it a typical Sinhalese proposal thing, or you found your love?
Oh, that is interesting. No, I found my wife, my girlfriend from the university while I was doing my studies, and she did development studies at Sri Javadhanapura University. And she graduated in 1979. I graduated in 77. And then we got married in 1981. Just after, it's very interesting, just after the wedding day, we were having the wedding ceremony. So after getting down from the Porua, that
Yes.
Porua,
Yes.
I invited my dean to my wedding. So dean came to me and congratulated me and gave me a letter. And then I opened the letter and I was asked to read the letter. So when I was reading the letter, I found I got a scholarship. So just after my wedding day, I was informed that I was getting a scholarship to go to Belgium to do my Master of Business Administration.
That one, right.
That is really a fortunate thing that I got, during that time. So that particular day.
So your wife is also from same background from down south, or?
No, she's from Kandy. She's from Pilimatalawa.
Oh, okay. I remember you mentioning Pilimatalawa. Yes. So that means that is your wife. So you settled down in Pilimatalawa, or you?
Well, I put up a house in Pilimatalawa because my wife used to work in the National Savings Bank in Kandy. I used to work in Sri Javadhanapura University. So I used to go to the university about 3 days and stay in the lodge and do my lectures and get back to Kandy every weekend.
Right.
That's how I started my academic career.
Okay, now tell me, so you did not want to stay back in Europe?
Well, I got a job opportunity in Europe after finishing my job, after completion of my MBA. A lot of job hunters came to the university and they offered me a job as a management trainee at 3M. But I didn't want to stay in Europe because when we were in Belgium, both kids were born. So my parents and my wife's parents were so much interested in seeing the kids. So and also I had a university bond because I went on a scholarship through the university scholarship. Then I decided to get back to Sri Lanka. So I got back to Sri Lanka in August 1984. And then started my academic career at Sri Javadhanapura since then. Okay. So 1984 to 1991, I worked at Sri Javadhanapura, and I became the head of Commerce Department during that time for 3 years. 1988, I was appointed as the head of head of department in the Commerce Department. So 88, 89, 90, 91, I worked until 1991 November. Right. But during the same time, I was working in the Postgraduate Institute of Management, which is located in Borella. Yes. I used to work as a consultant and I was teaching small business management, entrepreneurship kind of courses for MBA students who were studying at Postgraduate Institute of Management. That institute was an affiliated institution of Sri Javadhanapura University. Yes. And in early 1991, from January to June, I was the acting dean of the Faculty of Management and Commerce at Sri Javadhanapura University. So why did you leave the country then? Well, at that time, a lot of unrest was going on in 90s and late 80s. We were not able to do research and things like that. And, we were all doing all the mundane administrative work. And I was keen on doing my PhD and I wanted to do more research activities relating to my area, my discipline. So I was trying to go to a Western country, but unfortunately I didn't get an proper opportunity. At the same time, when I was heading my commerce department, one of my colleagues brought me an application from Brunei. University of Brunei wanted to recruit some lecturers, and my friend gave me the application, so I just completed it and sent it. Within 2 months later, I was called for an interview in Singapore. So So they sent me the tickets and everything, and I went to Singapore, and I was interviewed for about half a day. And then after the interview, the same day, they said, we are happy to recruit you. So then I thought of leaving Sri Jawadarapura, and initially I got no pay leave for 2 years, and I went to Brunei with my family. And after working there, I realized the place is good, conducive for my expectations, and salary-wise, it was a very good, very good place. Then I resigned from Sri Jawadarapura. I sent them my resignation letter. And I joined University of Brunei on contractual basis for 3 years. And after that, I was again appointed as head of school in the School of Management and Accounting. And I worked at Brunei University up to 1998. So I was there for nearly 8 years. I completed 2 contracts there.
Yes.
So during that time, when I was heading my school, I didn't have a PhD, but all my colleagues working in the department had PhDs. All of them had PhD except me. Then I thought I must do my PhD, and many people, my good friends said, "Prem, you have got a very good background. Why don't you do a PhD?" So I started doing my PhD on part-time basis at University of Wollongong. So I visited University of Wollongong, got my enrollment. I started as a part-time PhD student, and I did most of my PhD work whilst I was working in the University of Brunei.
Okay, so how did you find a supervisor to work remotely?
One of my colleagues who used to work with me at Sri Jawadarapura, he was one of my teachers. He got a professorial post at University of Wollongong. So he invited and told me, "Prem, if you can enroll as a PhD, I will help you. At the same time, you need to come at least every second month, third month, you need to come and do a presentation." And the University of Brunei was very much interested in promoting research culture, and they wanted people to do PhD. So the University of Brunei Darussalam gave me opportunities to attend my presentations. They paid me as well. I'm very thankful to the university for giving me such a great opportunity for me to secure my education. And so every third month I used to come to Wollongong University about 2 years, and that is how I operated. So I used to give my presentation, I used to catch up with my supervisors. And anyway, communication was there through internet and things like that. My writings, everything was sent to my supervisors. So that is how I started. Then the last year, of course, I came to University of Wollongong and completed my rest of the work. And I submitted my thesis. End of 1998, I submitted my thesis. I got the results in April 1999. But before that, I got a job in Australia.
Right.
After finishing my 2 contracts in Brunei, I came to Australia, to Wollongong, New South Wales. I came in December 1998, and I was without a job for about 3 months. And at the same time, I saw this vacancy happening at La Trobe University Level B lecturer position. Then I applied, and I was invited for an interview in early 1999, somewhere in February, end of January 1999. I was interviewed for about 1 hour, and after the interview, they said, "We are happy to recruit you." So that was my first interview in Australia, first job in Australia as an academic level B. So I joined La Trobe University Bendigo campus in February 1999 as a level B.
Then what happens?
Then after that, I got my results somewhere in April 1999, PhD. It was all done, no revisions, all straight for pass. So I started publications, doing my publications at La Trobe University. And at the same time, I started, because La Trobe Bendigo campus didn't have many PhD holders. So I started doing research methods courses for postgraduate students. At the same time, I started doing my publications, and I was able to secure A publications during 1999, two A publications during 1999, end of 1999.
Mm.
So I worked at Bendigo campus 99 to 2000, 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
And then I want to apply for level C grade, lecturer, senior lecturer grade. At that time, they didn't have vacancies. Then I saw some vacancies at Bandura, Latrobe, Bandura headquarters in Bandura here, Melbourne. So I sent my application as an external candidate because there was a vacancy level C. Then they interviewed me and they selected me as a level C lecturer in 2003. Then I moved from Bendigo to Bandura and settled down near Bandura, a place called Mill Park. So that's the place I bought my house. And it was very convenient for me. So my
that's in Melbourne. Yeah.
That's in Melbourne. So I started my Melbourne career in 2003 at Latrobe Bandura campus.
Right. Okay.
So 2003 up to end of 2007, I worked at Bandura campus, Latrobe University. I joined RMIT University early 2008 as an associate professor. And I had a plan. I wanted to publish up papers.
Yeah.
And I thought that's the way to get into a higher grade of education or academic career.
Let's talk about, you see, now you have, it looks like you really have molded your own career. You know, you planned, you worked hard, and you went to places and so on. But one of the issues or the challenges is kind of, you see your partner, your wife, for example,
yes.
And she would probably have to make sacrifices, and then she, say for example, just you like to share how you kind of worked around that, because she's also a professional, and then you decided to go to Brunei, and then she comes with you, but again she had to do something. So how did you manage all that?
I had enormous help from my partner, my wife. Her name is Savitri. I call her Savi. And she was, from the very beginning, she said she doesn't want to continue her higher studies. So she got her first degree. And she was looking after my two kids all the time. I was able to continue my studies while she was looking after my kids. And it was a great help. And she always supported me the way she can to secure my objectives in the academia.
Yeah. So since leaving Sri Lanka, she never worked.
She worked in Brunei as a teacher, secondary school teacher.
Right.
And my kids also went to school at the same time. So she also went to school. And then by the time kids come back home, she's also back home. And she was living with kids whilst I was finishing my work. I used to work till about 5:30, 6 o'clock every day.
Right.
So she was with my kids.
Tell me about children.
Thank you very much. I have got two children, son and daughter. My son is the eldest, daughter is younger. Now my son is an engineer. He graduated from Latrobe University as an electronic engineer. Now he's working as CEO, Chief Executive Officer in a company in Melbourne. He's in charge of food manufacturing company. It's a multinational company. They are the people who are manufacturing Coca-Cola cans, Vegemite bottle tops, etc. So he's in charge of that. He's in charge of that factory, and he's married to an Australian girl, and he's having two kids. So I'm a grandfather now. My daughter did a PhD in the medical area. She did her first degree at Monash University and then did the PhD as well. And then she worked at Monash University as a sessional lecturer for nearly 1.5 years. Then she got a job in American Food and Drugs Agency in Maryland in USA. So she had been working there for the last 7 years. Now she's going to get married next year. So I am very fortunate to have two beautiful children, and they did their education very well. I'm very happy as a father and mother. My my wife and myself.
Of course, congratulations. That's
Thank you
great
very much.
news.
That is the greatest happiness that I have got. I mean, basically, I came to Australia because my profession was all settled out very well in Sri Lanka. But looking at the plight of the Sri Lankan situation, I thought of moving away from Sri Lanka. So after coming to Australia, after getting their education and after getting into good, employment prospects, etc., I thought I have done a great job to secure them as good citizens or as world citizens to perform in their respective areas.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your area of expertise,
Yes.
right? So accounting academic, right? Accounting professor. So your role, you still have some role with the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura as
Yes,
and young professor.
I used to go to Sri Javardhanapura and give some occasionally I give some visiting like lectures, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So realizing my contribution recently, like 2016, I was appointed as Ernst and Young endowed professor to the School of Accounting at Sri Javadhanapura University. So since then, whenever I visit Sri Lanka, I go there and conduct some lectures and some research programs relating to our area with the academics who are working in academics who are working in the accounting department.
Mm.
And yeah, that's how I try to keep in touch with them. And also I have got connections with the University of Peradeniya because I'm living at I got my old house still at Pilimatala. So when I go there, they try to contact me or when I visit Sri Lanka, and then they ask me to do some lectures relating to new developments in the accounting discipline. So I keep in touch with them, and also now I try to bring some students from Sri Lanka based on some scholarships to do their PhDs at RMIT University.
Yeah, let's touch on that. I interviewed you about 5 years ago, maybe even earlier, like 2013 or something, about PhD supervision.
Yes.
You shared a lot of insights for my own research project about PhD supervision.
Yes.
Let's go back to some of the PhD supervision experiences that you have. You have supervised a few Sri Lankans as well. Yeah.
I have already completed about 12 PhDs so far in my academic life of 22 years in Australia. One student at La Trobe University, about 11 students at RMIT University. It's very good experience because students are coming to me from international places like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Pakistan, places like that, and some local students as well. My experience is these people are really interested in pursuing their education. They come and talk to me and say, sir, I want to do my PhD, what can I do? So always I give them my publications. So because I want them to do some specialization in my area. So when they come to me, I give them some of my good publications, A star publications for them to read and ask them to criticize them. So that by that way, I'm getting the kind of interest to do their PhDs with me. And as a result of that, I was able to get some good students under my supervision.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the students who graduated after my supervision are working in good places in Southeast Asia, some of the universities in South Asia, including Vietnam and Thailand, and yes, I think mainly those two countries.
Mm-hmm.
And some are working here in Australia after finishing their PhD. Some people are working here in Australian universities.
What are some of the secrets to being a successful supervisor?
It's a very interesting question. You need to develop your skills to mold or train the young emerging scholars. So in first year, what I do is I associate them as a friend, like a friend. Give them my helping hand. Give them what do you mean by research? Why do you do research? How do you do research? Things like what do you do? Why you are doing? how you are doing. I ask basic questions. So they try to answer. They don't think at that time, oh, I'm going to do my PhD, but Prem is asking very simple questions. By asking simple questions, I give them a simplicity of the research area. And then gradually I push them into the areas of required for reading, writing, critical writing, etc. So by doing that, gradually they are getting into the larger in-depth area of their research by reading various things. And the trick is, in the first year, you should not give them a bitter experience. You have to give them a very sweet experience. You have to share your experience with these students, so that you have to tell them the challenges. You have to tell them at the same time the pleasure you get out of your work. If when you do that, they don't get a very fearful kind of feeling. They feel, oh, if Prem has done this, he's sharing with his work with me. So therefore they get natural, motivation to do their work with me. So you have to deal with them like a friend, without deviating the rules and regulations. You have to deal with them as adults and as friends, so that they try to understand what you are trying to tell them. If you are giving them a hard time at the very beginning, they might get a bitter experience. So that is, I think, I have realized is an important experience that I have got after supervising so many PhD students. And
It is also a partnership, isn't it?
it's a partnership. It's a kind of a trust building partnership. You trust them and you share your experience with them, so that they keep you as a role model. At the same time, they try to learn something from you.
I remember you mentioning about certain initiatives that you have more like a serious hobby, like partly to do with giving back to Sri Lanka. You build houses and things like that. And
I'm a product of free education from Sri Lanka. So I owe my gratitude to Sri Lankan community, Sri Lankan authorities, etc., because I got a free education from Sri Lanka. So what I'm trying to do at the moment, I have given some scholarships to Sri Lankan few universities, including Sri Javadhanapura University. That is my number one. I started that about 8 years ago. I sponsor a few students to give them some money monthly basis to cover up their living expenses and all that until they finish their degree study. Other thing is, recently I was looking for bigger donation to a needy family who they didn't have a house. They were living in a very small hut. So I went to see them and I realized and they really need some help and no one was there to help them. So daughter and grandma, parents are dead and gone. Grandma and this child they were living in a small hut. So I spent some money, put up a house. I bought a small piece of land in a rural area and put up a house. They are living peacefully with a great happiness in that house now. So likewise, I intend to do these kinds of donations. They need help to needy people. I think that's a good way to help Sri Lanka. In addition to that, I'm helping Sri Lankan students to come to RMIT University, they apply for scholarship, and I have organized about 6 PhD scholarships through RMIT scholarships to some Sri Lankan students. Of course, they come with a lot of qualifications, so based on their merits, they have been able to get some scholarships from RMIT University. So that is also another important thing. I'm happy because this is the way I can give back my gratitude.
you see, Sri Lanka, whenever we go, it's a beautiful country. You know, we still kind of miss, like living in Sri Lanka is such a gift, right? Then again, a lot of us have left the country. What we call is the brain drain. But of course, for us to leave the country, also there is this reason. We found these opportunities elsewhere. So, what are your thoughts on like educated people leaving the country?
I think there was an era, the educated people didn't have enough opportunities to do a better contribution towards the economic development, social development of the country. I mean, politicians who had different, they did not treat the university sector, university educated people, PhD holders, they were just sitting there. Whatever they produce as potential, implementation projects, etc., those things were not taken into consideration. So most of the academics and the educated people had the opportunities to go abroad and grab some important employment opportunities from there. That was the era, but now things are changing according to my understanding during the last 10 years. Many of the people who left Sri Lanka are looking back now. And they, after getting their experience in a foreign university or foreign company or overseas venture somewhere, after getting some income, etc., they think, okay, I need to pay back to my Sri Lankan community. So some people have started, coming back and doing some contribution without any payment to university sector. Like me, I have done most of my work free of charge. I didn't claim any money or anything. Some people are they are wondering about it. Why you are not getting money? I said, I don't need money. I have got adequate income from my university in Australia. I don't need extra income, but I am happy to contribute something to needy people. Likewise, I think the majority of the people who left Sri Lanka 70s, 80s, 90s, etc., are now, I think, majority are coming back to Sri Lanka to give some, return to the Sri Lankan community. And some people are providing some investment opportunities for local people to start their small businesses, etc. That I know personally. So brain drain is good. Actually, we got a lot of experience through our foreign service, foreign experience. Now I think it's time for us to give something back to Sri Lanka to develop their economy towards, according to their expectations. So I think brain drain was good.
Now, I also know that we are a practicing Buddhist. So how do you keep up with that in Australia?
Well, Buddhism is not a religion.
Right.
It's a philosophy.
Okay.
So I was invited a few times for interfaith kind of discussions. When I was in Bendigo, I was one of the contributors to the church. So I said Buddhism is not a religion, it's a philosophy. You have got cause and effect kind of relationship. It's very much scientific kind of thinking. The cause and effect, is very common to everybody, things like that. So I'm not practicing as a Buddhist person, but I inculcate the Buddhist philosophy among people. Whatever the religion you are now, when PhD students come to me, I call them, what are you doing? I am doing a PhD. What do you mean by PhD? PhD is a doctor of philosophy. What do you mean by philosophy? Well, I'm trying to learn. The Buddhist philosophy is cause and effect. So that's common to every religion. If you do something, if you hit something, you get a sound. You can hear that.
So it's a bit like Newton's rule.
Newton's rule. So it's a kind of the philosophy, cause and effect. So philosophical understanding. We are trying to find the truth. What is the truth? No one knows the truth. Why are you doing a PhD? We are trying to do a PhD to find the truth. So the philosophical understanding of understanding the new knowledge, epistemology, ontology kind of things. So therefore, as a Buddhist, wherever you go, you can practice these philosophical understandings. And other important thing, I'm always talking to my students and my colleagues, there are two ways of behaving. One, you can behave according to the rule. Other one is you can behave according to the principle. What's the difference? Principle is mainly for intellectuals. As an intellectual, you know the principles, universal principles. You behave according to these principles. You are educated, you are well educated, you know, you have the knowledge. You behave according to principles. There are people who are not well educated, they have to live their life according to rules. I know there are rules, laws, regulations, etc. rules. So they are living according to rules and regulations. So likewise, as a Buddhist, I always try to practice these things, and it's not it's not a religion. It's a philosophy. So this philosophy or understanding can be inculcated among anybody, whether you are Muslim or Islamic or Catholic or whatever the religion. The universal principles are same.
Now, let's talk about some of your research projects.
Yes, very interesting.
Tell me.
Well, I have been doing my PhD based on accounting education in developing countries. That was my topic. And after that, I thought that topic, I published 2 papers, good papers out of my thesis. After that, I thought of going into professionalization of accounting. That's a much broader perspective in professional projects in accounting. So it's not double entry calculations, etc., number crunching exercise. That's about the society, economy, political system. Related parameters are taken into consideration. So most of my research in top tier journals are based on professionalization of accounting projects in developing countries and developed countries. In addition to that, I do some work in the public sector accounting as well, and also a bit of sustainability. Now, these research projects I have been doing with not only alone, I have been working with teams of group of people. I have visited the University of Oxford University in 2004 as a visiting professor. And ever since I visited Oxford University Zain Business School, I developed the link with them, and I am currently working with a team of people at the Oxford University. So I go there once a year and get in touch with them, do 1 or 2 seminars, and give some lectures to the MBA program in Zain Business School. Similarly, I developed through my research connections with Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And I visit Rotterdam once a year to do some visiting assignment lectures, and I do some research work with some of the people there. Most recently, I developed research connections with Ghent University in Belgium. So that is also a very interesting project that I am working with a couple of people there. And in addition to that, I got connections with Tsinghua University in China, Beijing. So that is the other latest project that I have. Currently, of course, we can't go there, but I do my work through internet and online. And mostly my research papers have been very well taken into academic work, and most of the research students are following my work. And as a result of that, I have got some awards for best publications from journals. And at the same time, I have been invited by journal editors to contribute some commission papers in professionalization of accounting, especially in A-star journals in ABD ranking. So that's how my research is going on. I am really enjoying my research work, and I have got a team of about 15 people working together in different parts of the world. So that's a real happiness in my life.
Yeah. On that note, let's talk about how does your research translates to other people's happiness. In other words, what kind of impact do they have? Because
yes,
you are doing
accounting. Yes,
Yep.
very good question. Accounting is a kind of a technical area in 1960s, 70s, 80s, technical area. So what can you do to the society with accounting? Doctors, when they graduate, with medical degrees, they go to the hospital, they try to help people to give medication. But in accounting, what can we do? So this is the interesting thing. Accountants are number crunchers, calculating numbers, but we should be able to contribute something to the society. How can we do that? Society people are waiting to hear from accountants. Now, accountants can contribute to the society through various kinds of strategies. Cost minimization strategies. If you are running a business, if your cost base is very high, how am I going to reduce this cost so that I can stay in the market, I can sustain in the market? So these kinds of thinking, these kinds of activities can generate happiness among other people who are not doing accounting. So I think accounting is a social practice. So by exercising the right directions of your accounting calculations, you can lead them into the social satisfaction. People are happy. People can get some information about the cost minimization strategies. As a result of that, many small businesses, medium scale businesses can survive in the business as a result of the contribution that you are making to the community.
It is also about decision making, isn't it?
Decision making and helping them to make right decision at the right time.
සිංහලෙන් ටිකක් කතා කරමු.
සිංහලෙන් කතා කරමු ටිකක්.
කියන්න.
මම ගැන කියනවා නම් මම මේ self made මිනිසෙක්. මම බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් මගේ ජීවිතය ගෙනිච්චේ. මගේ එක ප්‍රින්සිපල් එකක් තියෙනවා මගේ ජීවිතේ මේ verses හතරක් තියෙනවා මම කියන්නම්. ආරෝග්‍ය පරමාලාභ, සන්තුට්ටි පරමන්දනං, විශ්වාසා පරමඤ්ඤාති, නිබ්බාණං පරමං සුඛං. මේක verse එක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන මේ පාලි භාෂාවෙන්. ආරෝග්‍ය පරමාලාභ කියලා කියන්නේ තමුන්ගේ ශරීර සෞඛ්‍යය තමයි හොඳම ලාභය. ලාභය කියන්නේ profit එක. තමුන්ගේ ජීවිතයේ තියෙන හොඳම ලාභය තමයි හොඳින් තමුන්ගේ සෞඛ්‍ය තත්ත්වය තමුන්ට පවත්වාගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක තමයි හොඳම ලාභය. ආරෝග්‍ය පරමාලාභ, සන්තුට්ටි පරමන්දනං. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ තමුන්ට සන්තෝෂයෙන් ඉන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක තමයි තමුන්ට තියෙන ලොකුම ධනය. ධනය කියන්නේ wealth එක. තමුන්ට තියෙන ලොකුම wealth එක bank balance එක නෙමෙයි. මට ලක්ෂ ගාණක් පඩි හම්බ වෙනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි. මම සන්තෝෂ මගේ හිත ඇතුලේ මම සන්තෝෂ නම් හැමදාම උදේ නැගිටින්නේ මම පොසිටිව් තින්කින් එක්ක නම් මට ඔෆිස් එකට යන්න හිතෙනවා නම් මගේ කාර්යාලයට ගිහලා වැඩ කරන්න හිතෙනවා නම් මගේ රිසර්ච් වැඩ කරන්න හිතෙනවා නම් මම සන්තෝෂයි. මම මේ වැඩේ කරන හොඳට. එතකොට සන්තුෂ්ටි පරමන්දනං කියන්නේ අපේ සන්තෝෂය කියන එක හැමතිස්සෙම අපේ තියෙනවා. අද අපි ඉන්නවා හෙට අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මොනවා වෙනවද කියලා. ඒ නිසා සන්තෝෂය කියන එක හරියම වැදගත්. ඒක තමයි බ්ලඩ් සර්කියුලේෂන් එකට වැදගත් වෙනවා. හොඳ සෞඛ්‍ය තත්ත්වයක් තියාගන්න ඇති බලාපොරොත්තු ඇති කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒත් එක්කම තමුන්ගේ හොඳ ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමුද ශරීර සෞඛ්‍ය පවත්වාගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. તો ආරෝග්‍ය පරමාලාභ, සන්තුට්ටි පරමන්දන, විශ්වාස පරමඤ්ඤාති. මට පුළුවන් නම් ඔයා හොඳට විශ්වාසයි මට හරි විශ්වාසයි ඔයා කියලා you are trustworthy to me කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඔයා තමයි මගේ හොඳම ඥාතියා. ඉතින් ඒ ධර්මයන් බලනකොට ඇත්තෙම ඒක තමුන්ගේ ජීවිතේට හරි වැදගත්. ඒවා දිනු කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඕනම කෙනෙකුට දිනු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සන්තෝෂය කියලා අපි සල්ලි පස්සේ පනන්න නැතුව අපිට පුළුවන් නම් අපිට ඇතිතරමින් ජීවත් වෙලා කෙනෙකුට උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඊර්ෂ්‍යා නොකර කෙනෙකුට අපිට උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක තමයි අපි ජීවිතේ ලැබෙන පරම තෘප්තිය. ඒක තමයි පරම ධනය, පරම ලාභය. ඒක ඒ මනුස්ස ගතිය අපි ගාව තියෙනවා. Universal principles අපි ළඟ තියෙනවා. ඒ whether you are educated or not, these principles are very common to everybody. එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපේ හොඳ සමාජයක් බිහි කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට.
ඉතින් මේ ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු මේවා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්නේ නැද්ද?
ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු කියනවා බොහෝ දෙනා. නමුත් මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කිරිල්ල යනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට අමතක වෙනවා මොකද්ද කරන්න කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒක හරියට කල්පනා කරලා දැන් බලන්න පාරේ යනකොට දැන් මම දන්නවා පාරේ යනකොට අපි එක්කෙනා පස්සේ එක්කෙනා යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ විනයක් පවත්වාගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට කාට සන්තෝෂයි. එහෙම නැතු එක්කෙනෙක් පරදවල අයට ඉස්සර කරනවා මෙයාට වඩා ඉස්සර කරලා බැන ගන්නවා රණ්ඩු වෙනවා. ඒ මොනවාම සමාජයේ දියුණුවක් නැහැ. සමාජයේ සන්තෝෂයක් නැහැ. සමාජයේ හැම දිනකටම අපි සන්තෝෂයෙන් ඉන්න කඳුළු හලන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න පුළුවන්කමක් අපි අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි අපේ පරමාර්ථය විය.
ලංකාවේ මේ අධ්‍යාපනය කියලා ටිකක් ඒ ගැන ටිකක් කතා කරමු.
මෙහෙමයි අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මේ හැම කෙනෙකුටම අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා දිය යුතුයි ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ. නමුත් බලන්න ලංකාවේ දැනට තියෙන සංඛ්‍යාලයක නරගෙන බැලුවොත් හැම අවුරුද්දෙම 340,000 students appear වෙනවා GC or A level exam එකට. ඒකෙන් 170,000 තමයි advanced level වලින් university entrance වලට qualify වෙන්නේ. ඒකේ university ගන්නේ 30,000 students. එතකොට 140,000 left, they don't have any opportunity to go to get a degree. ඉතින් අන්න ඒක ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඉතින් එහෙම නැති වුණාම මේ මිනිස්සු කරන්න පුළුවන් දේ මිනිස්සු දුප්පත් මිනිස්සු කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මිනිස්සු 3 wheeler එකක් අරගෙන මේ කරන එහෙම නැත්නම් බැරිම තැන illicit drugs වගේ දේවල් වලට යනවා. ඒක නිසා මේ සමාජයේට හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලැබීම අවශ්‍යයි. හැම දිනකටම මේ අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබීමට අවකාශයක් තිබිය යුතුයි. ඒත් එක්කම විශ්වවිද්‍යාලවල උපාධි වලට අමතරව TAFE courses එක සම්බන්ධ කරන්න ඕන මේ උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය. දැන් අපේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මෙහි තියෙනවා වගේ TAFE college එක තියෙනවා. දැන් අපේ RMIT university TAFE college එකක් තියෙනවා. සුදුසුකම් අඩුවෙන් ලබපු මිනිසුන්ට university එන්න බැරි මිනිසුන්ට අපහසු මිනිසුන්ට පුළුවන් TAFE college එකට ගිහිල්ලා course එකක් කරලා අවුරුදු 2ක course එකක් කරලා trade certificate එකක් අරගෙන මේෂන් කෙනෙක් හැටියට හරි බාබර් කෙනෙක් හැටියට හරි ඒ සුළු සේවකයෙක් හැටියට මොකක් හරි වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ තත්ත්වයක් ලංකාවේ ඇති වෙ යුතුයි. එහෙම වුණොත් ඔය හුඟක් ඉන්න මේ තරුණ මිනිස්සු without unemployed youths ලාට ගන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ මේ සේවයක් ගන්න පුළුවන් ඒ මාර්ගය. මම නම් හිතන්නේ ඒ වැඩේ කෙරෙයි කියලා මේ ඉදිරි කාල සීමාවලදී. ඒක කවුරුත් neglect කරනවා. ඔක්කොම යුනිවර්සිටි කියනවා TAFE college වලට යා college එකක් හරියට පිළිගන්නෙත් නැහැ, යන්නෙත් නැහැ. වගේ 3 wheeler වලට විතරක්ම concentrate කරන්නේ නැතුව බාබර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න, bricklayer කෙනෙක් වෙන්න, එතනගියම carpenter කෙනෙක් වෙන්න, welder කෙනෙක් වෙන්න, electrician කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. ඒවට courses හදලා හොඳ systematic අධ්‍යාපනයක් දුන්නොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ ලස්සනට ඒ වැඩ කරලා තමුගේ සොයන් රැකියාවක් self employment එක පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලන්ට acumen එක දීලා තියෙන, ඒගොල්ලන්ට qualification ඒගොල්ලන්ට සහතිකයක් තියෙනවා. බාබර් කෙනෙක් හැටියට වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් සහතිකයක් තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ වැඩේ ලස්සනට කරනවා. හොඳ න්‍යායාත්මක දැනීමක් ඇතුව ප්‍රායෝගික දැනීමක් ඇතුව මේ වැඩේ කරනවා. ඒ වගේ දෙයක් ඇති කළොත් මම හිතනවා ඒක මොකද ලංකාවේ වෙනවා දැන් beauty salons වගේ දේවල් බැලුවොත් ඒ අංශය හොඳට යනවා beautification interior decoration ඒ වගේ දේවල් කරනවා. නමුත් ඒවට හරි ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් නැහැ ලංකාවේ. ලංකාවේ හැම ට්‍රේඩ් එකකටම හොඳ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් ඇතුව රජයේ ආයතන වලින් ඒවා ඇති කරලා තියෙනවා නම් මම හිතන්නේ මිනිස්සු 3 wheeler වලට විතර පස්සෙම පන්නන්නේ නැහැ. මොනවා හරි දෙයක් කරලා තමුන්ගේ සොයක් රැකියාවක් කරගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා කියලා මට හිතෙනවා.
accounting අධ්‍යාපනය
ඔව්
ලංකාවේ හොඳයිනේ.
number 1 දැන් මම හිතන්නේ හුඟක් වෙලාවට ළමයි යන්නේ accounting අධ්‍යාපන business education කියලා. ඉතින් ඒකත් හුඟක් හොඳයි. නමුත් ඒකෙන් වැඩේ තියෙන්නේ ඒක දැන් ඕවර් සප්ලයි එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක අමාරුයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකට ඕවර් සප්ලයි වුණාම ප්‍රයිස් එක අඩු වෙනවා. ඒක නිසා අපි බලන්න ඕනේ ඒකට පිළියමක් යොදන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් ඒකත් වැඩි සප්ලයි එකක් ඇති වෙනවා ලංකාවේ.
හැබැයි මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි එඩියුකේෂන් තාම දිනුවන්න පුළුවන් නේ.
English education compared to my time, 1970s, 80s, now actually the situation is better in Sri Lanka. ඒ කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සුන්ට වැඩි ලොකු උවමනාවක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඉගෙන කාලේ වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් ඉගෙනගෙන ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් වැඩ කරන ලොකු උවමනාවක් තියෙනවා ලංකාවේ. ඇත්තම දැන් ඔය private college universities, private colleges තියෙන ඒ වගේ අධ්‍යාපනය ලබා දෙන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන්මයි. එතනින් හොඳ දියුණුවක් තියෙනවා කියලා මට පේනවා. ඒකෙන් ඇත්තම ලොකු සේවයක් ලංකාවේ ශිෂ්‍යයන්ට කරනවා. ඒ තුලින් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉංග්‍රීසි අධ්‍යාපනය දියුණු කරගෙන මම හිතන්නේ සෑහෙන දියුණුවක් දැනට ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඉංග්‍රීසි අධ්‍යාපනය තුළ. honesty is the best policy කියන එක තමයි අපේ ඉස්කෝලවලදී උගන්වලා තියෙන පොඩි කාලේ. ඒ honesty කියන එක හරි important. whatever the level you are performing, honesty is very important. If you are honest, you can contribute a great success to the whole society. අවංකකම තමයි හරිම අවශ්‍යයි. අපි අවංක විය යුතුයි. මිනිස්සු හැටියට අපි අවංක විය යුතුයි.
ප්‍රේම් රීඩ් කරනවද පොත්?
ඔව් මම පොත් කියවනවා. විශේෂයෙන් මගේ විෂයට අදාළ පොත් මම බොහෝ විට කියන්නේ විෂයට අදාළ දේවල්. ඊට අමතරව මනුෂ්‍යයාගේ පැවැත්ම පිළිබඳ, ජීවිතය පිළිබඳ positive thinking ගැන පොත් කියවනවා. ඊට අමතරව මගේ විනෝදාංශයක් තමයි සින්දු කියවීම. සින්දු කියනවා. I'm a good singer.
Okay.
මේ මම මාසයකට සැරයක් මගේ යාළුවොත් එක්ක මේ පැය 2ක් 3ක් මේ සංගීත පාටියක් දානවා. ඉතින් මේක කියලා මාරුවෙන් මාරුවට අමරදේව සින්දු, වික්ටරත්නායකගේ සින්දු, ජෝතිපාලගේ සින්දු ඒ වගේ කියලා බොහොම රස වින්දනයක් ලබනවා අපි.
සින්දුවක් කියමුද?
සින්දුවක් කියන්න මම.
ඔව් කියන්න. Fantastic. Very nice. Favorite politician කවුද?
මම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් පොලිටික්ස් වලට ආස නැති මිනිස්සෙක්. දේශපාලකයන්ට මම වැඩි කැමති නැති පුද්ගලයෙක්. විශේෂයෙන් මගේ විශේෂ කෙනෙක් නැහැ දේශපාල. හැබැයි මගේ දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා විෂනරි ලීඩර්ස්ලා දෙන්නෙක් ලංකාවේ. එක විෂනරි ලීඩර් කෙනෙක් තමයි CWW කන්නංගර. නිදහස් අධ්‍යාපනයේ පියා. එයා හොඳ විෂනරි ලීඩර් කෙනෙක්. එයා නිසා තමයි අපි අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබී අපි දුප්පත් පවුල් වලින් ආපු මිනිස්සු ඔක්කොම අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබී CWW කන්නංගර මහත්මයාගේ මේ විශේෂ උනන්දුව නිසා තමයි නිදහස් අධ්‍යාපනයක් අපිට ලැබුණේ. දෙවෙනි එක තමයි මම බොහොම කැමති විෂනරි ලීඩර් කෙනෙක් තමයි මිසිස් බණ්ඩාරනායක. එයා පොලිටිෂියන් කෙනෙක් නිසා නෙවෙයි නමුත් ලීඩර් කෙනෙක් හැටියට. මොකද එයා කල්පනා කරා එයා කෝලිෂන් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකක් ඇති කළ 1970 බලයට පත් වුණාට පස්සේ ඩොක්ටර් එල්.එම්. පෙරේරා, කොලින් පීටර් කේනමන්, කොලිනා ඩිසිල්වා වගේ කට්ටිය වාමාංශික දේශපාලඥයෝ ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ආණ්ඩුවක් පිහිටෙවුවා යුනයිටඩ් ෆ්‍රන්ට් කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ පටන් ගත්ත ව්‍යාපාරය ඉතාමත් වැදගත්. ඒක තමයි අපි අදත් කරන්න යන්නේ. තාම කෙරුණේ නැහැ හරියට. දේශීය කර්මාන්ත නගා සිටවීම, දේශීය කෘෂි කර්මය නගා සිටවීම, දේශීය ඥානය, ලෝකල් ටෙක්නොලොජි, ලෝකල් නොලෙජ් එක දියුණු කිරීම, ඒවා බොහොම ලස්සනට කෙරීගෙන ආවා. නමුත් 77න් පස්සේ සම්පූර්ණ නැතුව ගියා. ඉතින් මගේ දේශපාලඥයෝ හැටියට නේ මගේ හොඳම විෂනරි ලීඩර් මම චැප්ටර් එකක් ලිව්වා මේ ඇමරිකන් පොතකට මේ ළඟදී. ලංකාවේ විෂනරි ලීඩර්ස් දෙන්නයි බිහිවෙලා තියෙන නිදහස් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව නිදහස් ලැබුණාට පස්සේ.
Okay. Have you ever been in a very difficult situation in your life and then you resolved it in a surprisingly interesting?
මගේ ජීවිතේ මම අධික බයක් වෙච්ච අධික කරදරයකට වැටිච්ච අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවද කියන එකයි ඔබ තුමා අහන්නේ මගෙන්. මට එක අවස්ථාවක් හොඳට මතකයි. මම වතුරේ ගෙලෙන්න ගිය අවස්ථාවක්. මම නිවාඩුවකට ගියා පොළොන් දරුවේ යාළුවෝ කට්ටියත් එක්ක. ගිහිල්ලා මේ ඇලකට ගියා නාන්න. ඉතින් බොහොම තරුණ කාලේ මට අවුරුදු 20ක් විතර කාලේ. ගිහිල්ලා නාන්න ගිහිල්ලා ඉතින් බොහොම ෂැලෝ බොහොම වැඩි ගැඹුරු නැති ඇලකට බැහැලා නැහැ. බැස්සා විතරයි මාව ලිස්සුවා. ලිස්සලා වැටුණා. වැටලා ඉවරලා මට නැගිටින්න බෑ. හැබැයි යාළුවෝ හිටියේ මම නානවා කියලා. නමුත් මම වතුරේ ඔහොම පෙරලෙනවා මට හුස්ම ගන්න බෑ. පස්සේ මම අත දාලා කිව්වා ඒගොල්ලන්ට අත මෙහෙම කරලා මේ වැනුවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ දැනගත්තා මම ඩේන්ජර් එකක ඉන්නේ කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා මගේ කකුලෙන් ඇදලා ගත්තා. ඒක තමයි මගේ ජීවිතේ ලොකුම බයක් ඇති වෙච්ච අවස්ථාව. මට අවුරුදු 21ක් විතර ඇති වයස එතකොට.
පොඩි සාරාංශයක් දෙන්නකෝ අපි මේ ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සුන්ට.
ඔව්. දැන් මම සාරාංශයක් හැටියට කියනවා නම් මම මේ කතා කරපු දේවල් ගැන සාරාංශය තමයි අපි ලාංකිකයෝ හැටියට අපි අවංක විය යුතුයි. අවංක වීම හරිම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය දෙයක්. අවංක වෙන තරමට අපේ රටේ දියුණුවක් තියෙනවා. සමාජයේ දියුණුවක් තියෙනවා. හැමෝටම දියුණුවක් ඇති වෙන අවංක වීම ගැන. honesty කියන එක අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත ඉස්කෝලවල අපි හරියට ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ. අපේ සමාජයේ ඇත්තෙන්ම විශාලම වැදගත් උගත් නුගත් සියලුම දෙනා අතරම වැදගත්ම සංකල්පය තමයි honesty කියන එක. වචනේ පරිසමාප්තියෙන් කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. වචනේට වඩා ගැඹුරින් අපි අවංකකම කියන එක පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕන. නායකයින්, සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාව, විවිධ ආකාරයේ ඔෆිසර්ස්ලා, කතිකාචාර්යවරු, වෛද්‍යවරු, ඉංජිනේරවරු ඔක්කොම අවංක වුණොත් අවංක සමාජයක් බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකින්ද මගේ සාරාංශය තමයි අවංක වීම. මගේ ජීවිතයේ සාර්ථකත්වයටත් අවංකකම හුඟක් බලපාලා තියෙනවා. මම කරන තමුන්ට තියෙන විශ්වාසය, ට්‍රස්ට් එක, තමුන්ට තියෙන කොන්ෆිඩන්ස් එක, තමුන් කරන වැඩේ පිළිබඳව තමුන්ට හොඳ අවබෝධයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තුළින් තමුන් හොඳ කොන්ෆිඩන්ස් එකක් බිහි කරගන්නවා. ඒ කොන්ෆිඩන්ස් එක ඉතාමත් හොඳට තමුන්ගේ සාර්ථක ජීවිතේ, සාර්ථක රැකියාවකට, සක්සස්ෆුල් ලයිෆ්, සක්සස්ෆුල් කැරියර් එකට ඒක හරි වැදගත් වෙනවා. ඒක ඇත්තම වැදගත් වෙනවා තමුන්ගේ ජීවිතයේ සාර්ථක භාවය ඇති කර ගැනීම. ඒත් එක්කම තමුන්ගේ ශරීර සෞඛ්‍ය තත්ත්වය ඇති කර ගැනීම. ඒක උතුම් වැදගත් දෙයක්. දොස්තර කෙනෙක් ගාවට යන්න ඕනේ නැතුව අපි අවංකව වැඩ කරනවා නම් අපේ හදවත නිර්දෝෂයි. ඒ නිර්දෝෂී තත්ත්වය ඉතාමත් වැදගත් වෙනවා. තමුන්ගේ ඇතුලේ වැඩ කරන ලේ පිරිසුදු වෙනවා. ලේ පිරිසුදු වීම අපි වැඩ කරන්නේ. ඒක තමයි ශරීර සෞඛ්‍ය හොඳයි, සමාජයට හොඳයි. ඒ වගේම පරිසරයටත් ඒක අවශ්‍යයි. හැම දිනකටම මේක වැදගත් දෙයක්. මේක යුනිවර්සල් දෙයක් මට කියන්න ඕන සාරාංශයක් හැටියට.
Thank you so much, Professor Prem.
It's a pleasure. බොහොම සන්තෝෂයි ඔබතුමාගේ වැඩසටහන පිළිබඳව. මේ වගේ වැඩසටහන් වැඩිපුරම කරන්න කියලා මම ඔබතුමාට හැකියාව ශක්තිය ලැබේවායි කියලා මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Thank you.